Welcome to the Porn Reboot podcast, where you get practical tips to gaining control over your porn or sex addiction. We help ambitious men end their out-of-control sexual behavior with pornography, sex, and masturbation so that you can maximize your life, perform at your potential, and remain in control in the driver's seat, which is where you have to be in order to gain or maintain the success you want in life. I'm your host, J.K. Emezi, certified sex and porn addiction recovery coach. Welcome to the episode. If this is your first 30 days of quitting pornography, or if you're somebody who's coming out of a relapse or a slip and you've been counting days, you shouldn't be, but you've been telling yourself that I'm almost at 30 days and I'm so worried that I'm about to give in. Perhaps you've edged a few times. The urges are so strong for you. Well, if you're in that situation, then this episode is for you. Here is something that I wish somebody told me 17 years ago when I was still in the process of trying to quit pornography. I wish somebody had told me that, JK, it doesn't matter whether you view pornography or whether you masturbate. It doesn't matter how many times you slip or relapse, you are going to be free one day. You will decide what being free means for yourself, and you're going to accomplish all of your goals and all of your dreams. I'll say it again. I wish somebody told me 17 years ago that, JK, it doesn't matter how often you slip. It doesn't matter how many times you relapse. It doesn't matter how much pornography you watch or how much you masturbate. You are going to be free from this behavior. You are going to define what freedom means for you. You yourself are going to do that. You're going to accomplish all of your goals and you're going to achieve all of your dreams. Right now, at the time of this recording, I am 41 years old. And I remember just beating myself up so much and truly believing that I was sinful, truly believing that I would never have a partner or a girlfriend or a wife, truly believing that I would never amount to anything or really just anybody worth being respected, truly believing that not only would I never be loved, but I would always be one of those, dregs of society who just truly believed that he was broken and that I would be incapable of doing so many things. And that's basically how I came up in my teens all the way through my 20s. And the truth is that no matter how many times I relapse, I don't know, maybe hundreds of thousands of times. In my head, I feel like it's millions. It's just so many times. I just felt that I would just be a screw up. But here's what happened. I accomplished everything. Everything. I got a girlfriend. And prior to that, I dated many beautiful women. I remember waking up so many days in a row just looking at the beautiful woman laying next to me and going like, what is this life? Like, what the heck? This is crazy, dude. And prior to that, I had built up my dream body. I had built up my dream physique. And I've maintained it at 41 years old. I think I still look great. I look at myself in the mirror. I'm like, damn, bro, you are less than 10% body fat. You are fit. You are healthy. You can run for miles. And I still look around and I cannot find a man that is my age that honestly has a better physique than me who isn't a bodybuilder. I generated wealth. I built multiple 6- and 7-figure businesses. And all of these things, the business side of things, those things really began to happen more in my 30s. And what else? Like, I feel amazing right now. Nobody can accuse me of not being confident, perhaps even with a tinge of arrogance. I don't think I'm an arrogant person, but I'm definitely confident. But here's the thing, brother. There was a time that I was so filled with shame that I would walk out of my dorm room and I would walk around campus. I would go to class. I would go to the cafeteria. I would go out into the world with my head down. I was absolutely unable to make eye contact with anybody because I felt horrible. I felt that everybody knew that I was sexualizing them. I felt that they knew I was a horrible person. They knew what I had done. And I felt so much guilt because I was looking at people and I was just imagining what it was like to have sex with them. And it wasn't even about attractiveness anymore. I just didn't care. I was just like, well,
Can my brain release dopamine from how nasty this person looks or how inappropriate it would be to have sex with this person or thing? It was horrible. And I had so much shame because of that. And in spite of all of that, I not only accomplished my goals, and I still have many more goals to accomplish, but I accomplished way more than I ever imagined that I would. Frankly speaking, my life is a dream. The things I'm doing and the way I'm living right now, I mean, it's amazing. But the same is possible for you. Actually, I'll switch the buts to and. The same is possible for you. At the time of shooting this video, there are like some horrible things happening in the world. In Palestine, in Congo, in Sudan, in Tanzania. Horrible things are happening. And I wake up and I start off my day and I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful. And I come to the realization that, brother, it doesn't matter how bad it is for you. It doesn't matter how bad your pornography addiction is or was. It still cannot compare to any of the things that other people who are suffering in other parts of the world are dealing with. Your addiction to pornography is nowhere close to the suffering of others, not even a fraction of what you go through in the aftermath of a relapse compares to somebody watching their wife being sexually assaulted, or the person in the Sudan that's being made to dig their own grave and bury themselves alive, or watch their entire clan, their entire tribe get wiped out in front of them. You will come to realize that this problem with pornography and masturbation, my brother, it is not as bad as you think it is. And here's the crazy thing. You do not live in a society or a world that wants you to understand that. You live in a society that wants you to be stuck in your behavior. You live in a society that wants you to feel sinful. They want you to feel bad for what you do. And they want you to stay in that guilt because this is an industry. They want you to stay there and keep getting help forever. You know, sometimes people will criticize me and go like, bro, you're just selling pornography addiction recovery like anyone else. It's just about the money. And when people say that, the first thing I understand about a person like this is that they have never been through the rehab industry. They do not understand that in a 12-step program, even though it is marketed as free, that if you go into rehab or you go into therapy and you tell them or they diagnose you with a compulsive behavior, they are going to imply that you have a disease, that you need treatment, that you will never be free, and that you will live your entire life as a person with a disease, the disease of addiction. Your entire life will be colored. The lens you wear will be the lens of the person who is in recovery. They want you to stay this way. It doesn't matter whether you're away from your behavior for 3 years. A relapse in that world is always around the corner. You're always going to be at risk for going back to rehab, for buying something to help you control your behavior better. But at Porn Reboot, it's quite simple. It takes 1.5 years to 2 years to rewire your brain and leave. Leave. Never come back again. I am not an addict. I've been 17 years free of this behavior. The only reason that I have done this for the past 17 years is to help other men free themselves from this behavior. The things we stand for at Porn Reboots are autonomy. We stand for free will. We stand for your ability to think for yourself, that you can look at ideas, you can look at the world, and you can critique them. You can decide what you want. We stand for your happiness. You define what it is that makes you happy. And let me tell you, you cannot be happy if you are living in a constant state of quote unquote recovery, if you identify as an addict. And I think it's such a shame that so many men's lives are going to be limited because they are made to identify as an addict. You might be listening to this and even you might be thinking, nah, bro, I've struggled with this for so long. I think the only way is to just identify as an addict. Well, if that's the way you think, then you're probably never going to resonate with the freedom that I talk about. You're probably always going to think that I'm some sort of arrogant dude trying to sell you something, because you cannot imagine a world where a man can be as free as I describe my clients to be. You know, the other day, we had a guy come in to our group, and this brother knows who he is. He's in the intensive program. No offense to him, but he said, I keep coming back to your group. And he says, I identify as an addict. And I had to just stop him. I was like, dude, no, 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 no. You identify as an addict. Nothing in our group makes or encourages anybody to identify as an addict because you're not an addict. We use the term addict and addiction for the general public. So if you're listening to this podcast episode, you are a part of the general public. You do not know anything about this. For you, yeah, addiction. You're like, that's the term you understand. But as men join the program and begin to go through the stages of their reboots, you will come to realize on your own that, oh, wait a minute, I'm not an addict. I'm actually not addicted to anything. Like this whole pornography thing is just a symptom of something else. Like, JK, it's so crazy that you call this porn reboots because eventually I come to find out that there's no porn issue here. We want you to control your behavior. We want you to define your freedom. We want you to define your reboot for yourself and then move on with your life. My job is simply to give you hope. I'm a hope dealer. My job is to give you the coping strategies that you need to be free. And while you're doing so, it is to show you that all the years that you feel you have wasted to pornography, to show you that there is so much strength that you have gained from it. And some people ask, all right, JK, what's an example of the strength that I gained from being a porn addict? Most men who struggle with pornography think they're lazy. But I see men who come back from a long 10-hour workday and then binge watch pornography, searching and looking for stuff for the next 6 hours. Do you understand your work ethic? Like, I'm not being sarcastic or funny. I'm dead serious. Do you understand your work ethic? You came back from a 10-hour day and you stacked 3, 4, 5, 6 hours of edging, binging, chatting with chicks, trying to meet an escort, doing all these things. And some of you, on top of that, you acted out physically with somebody and you still woke up the next morning and went to work. Because I understand my work ethic. Right now, I can survive off 4 to 5 hours of sleep a day, sometimes less. And people are just like, oh, this is going to happen to you. That's going to happen to you. And I'm just like, fuck you. I lived for years binging on pornography, staying up late, trying to find people that I was going to act out with on Craigslist, doing some super messed up stuff. People have been saying to me since I was 26 years old and got my life together that you're going to hurt yourself by sleeping these short hours. I'm like, listen, I don't have any crazy vices. My worst vice is gummy worms. It's candy. That's my worst vice from the age of 26 years old to the age of 41 years old. And I have bypassed everybody in my age group, and so will you, because I was a man who struggled with an out-of-control behavior with pornography. The process of rebooting rebuilds you from the ground up. But what is that raw material? The raw material is the hours of binging pornography. It is all those hours. It is the powerful urges that you dealt with. But what is the raw material that you have? The raw material is your past experience, all those hours of binging to pornography. You took some very powerful urges, and then you edged with that urge. You made the urge last longer. You manipulated your neurochemical makeup. You manipulated your nervous system so you could enjoy it for as long as possible. You went through your day constantly activating your mind and your body to be aroused. You were constantly in reaction to everything, always looking for something that could turn you on. What if I was to tell you that all those powerful urges that you experience can be turned into determination? You tell yourself, oh my God, the urge, it's so powerful. What of the determination? What of the motivation? It is so powerful. It is so strong. That desire to win is also powerful, and it's there within you. And you might be thinking, dude, that's different from the urge. No. It is the same nervous system energy that you use to give into an urge, that you use to edge, that you use to stay up for hours at night gooning or whatever the fuck it's called these days. It is that same thing that can be put towards your determination and your motivation to succeed. Different neurochemicals are being activated, but it is the same system that is activating them. We just teach you in Porn Reboot how to take that and flip it. You say, oh, JK, the urge is so strong. I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm so aroused. Well, shit. I wake up at 3:30 a.m. and I'm aroused to go out there and win. I'm aroused to go out there and make something of my life. I can't stop myself. I guess I'm an addict to success. I wish somebody told me that, brother. I wish somebody told me I was going to be okay. And so I'm telling you now, in this little bit of a disjointed episode, that you're going to be fine. You're going to be just fine. And if you find it hard to believe, why don't you just join the free program? Why don't you just join the free group? Why don't you just get on a call with one of our coaches, one of our strategists? Because some of you just whine and fucking whine. You send me emails, just the dumbest shit. Like, just shut the fuck up. I am so fucking tired of the whining. I love the emails. I love it when people want to have conversations with me, ask me questions about things. But some of you just fucking whine like years after years. When you've been doing this I've been coaching for 13 years and I just see the same fucking people. How can you be bitching to me for 11 years? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Anyway, there are free YouTube videos, okay? You can go watch how many? About 3,100 free YouTube videos. There's soon going to be over 700 podcast episodes you can listen to. And the entire system is here. Go and use it. But for God's sake and for your own sake, do something with your life. Take action. Change your life. Brother, you are so powerful. This urge within you, once it is flipped towards the right things, oh my God. You know, I spent years looking at other people going like, I can never be like them. I'm not as good looking. I'm not as charismatic. I'm not as smooth. I'm not as chill. I'm not as focused. I'm not as disciplined. I'm not as committed. And then you come to realize that none of them are special, that there's actually nothing special about them, that they are just normal people. And we looked at them and we put normal people on the pedestal because they had no issues that we could see. And here's the crazy thing. You are not normal. You are actually special. There is something about you that makes you special. And it is not the fact that you are dealing with a behavior with pornography. The thing that makes you special is the fact that you have chosen to reboot from your behavior with pornography. It is the fact that you've chosen to stay accountable. It is the fact that you've chosen to take control of your life. It is the fact that you have chosen to face your urge at every moment. And that, my brother, that makes you very special. Listen, there are many recovering alcoholics. There are many recovering drug addicts, but there are very few true rebooters who are looking to take control of their life. And brother, the moment you make the decision to become a true rebooter, your entire life will change. Remember, it is not about pornography. Pornography is the symptom of the deeper issue. We have a system that is designed to just flip your life upside down, where you look back and you go, I just cannot understand how my life is so different in such a short period of time. So I hope you found this rant/ramble helpful. I'll see you on the next episode.
I'm JK, your brother in this struggle. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Porn Reboot podcast. I'll speak to you later on in the week. If you found this episode helpful, here are 4 ways I can help you with your out-of-control sexual behavior for free. The first way is to grab a free copy of my book, Confessions of a Porn Addict, 7 Secrets of Porn-Free Men at elevatedrecovery.org, or visit the link in the description below this episode. The second way is, if you're not sure where to start, but you'd like to learn more about my team and I, if you'd like to spend time with like-minded professionals and business owners who are controlling their behavior, then join our free and confidential group, the Porn Reboot group on Facebook. There's a link to join in the description below this episode. The third way is if you need help right now because you have a burning issue, your behavior with pornography is hurting you mentally or emotionally, you're about to lose your relationship, you want to live up to your potential, be an authentic man, and free yourself from shame, guilt, and underachieving, then click on the link in the description below this episode that says free coaching call. And the fourth way is to leave us a 5-star review if you enjoy this podcast, so that we can reach more men who are struggling in silence and bring back the lessons we learn from coaching them to freedom.